Well, that was interesting. Um, I'm speaking to you after I've taken an afternoon and an evening and an overnight to upload a 30-minute video. Apparently, that takes a while. Maybe there's ways and tricks I can do to make it take less time, but that's how it goes. So I think this is probably going to be at most a once a day kind of video series, although I suspect less than that. So what are you looking at here? Well, if you looked at my previous video, by the way, hi, my name's Steve Smith. I'm starting a video Let's Code series. We're gonna code the codes to make a game called Space Rocket, where you can move up and down, and all this is what we have right now. We got a screen, and I can hit the up arrow on my keyboard and the down arrow on my keyboard, and nothing else does anything except for that. The console prints, but nothing prints on this screen. So I goofed a little bit. So last time I made the width, this 100% width, but look at this. This is all fuzzy here. Look how fuzzy this line is. It's because this is not the way I want to do this. It's not the way I want to make the width correct. Look, this is the appropriate size, and all I did was take this tiny uh, game screen and sort of stretch it like it was silly putty to the 100% width. I don't want to do that. A long time ago, I made a snake game. It's not that great of a snake game, but maybe I'll link to it. I don't know. But I want to do this. I want to get the canvas width to equal the width of the window. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to copy these two lines. And that's not what I want to do at all. Here we go. Another thing I want to do is I want to get rid of my semicolons. Don't need them, don't want them, wouldn't live next to them. Haha! And it's not called context. It's called CTX. There we go. That should do it. What's this extra space here? I don't need that. Get away from me. All right. And I don't know why I'm doing this. How about that? And also, get away from there. I'm not going to change this value. I'm going to make it const. In fact, up you go. So there. So now you know what? I don't want this to be the case. I'm going to say, I'm going to see divided by 2. And then how do I turn something into an int? Turn float to int in JavaScript. I know there's only one number type, but I bet if I give this window width some kind of point, whatever, it's gonna. If the width ends up being like a number where I divide it by 2, like 101, and I end up getting 50.5, and I try to make the height 50.5, that's gonna be a problem. Math.round. Math.round. So that's what I'm going to do here. So okay. So I'm just putting my variable declarations all in one statement, separated by commas. There's a comma. There's a comma. Those commas. Comma. Okay. So R is declared as the Lambda library, Rx is the RxJS library, and C is the game screen. You know what? Oh, it's not. That's what it is. I bet some of you pros were looking at me like, that's going to be a mistake. So that's context. In fact, I don't want to call it CTX. I prefer context. That makes more sense. All right, so I've got my libraries, I've got my context, setting the width, setting the height, rounding it. I'm gonna see if this works, just to see. So I want to draw a line from 0, 0 to freaking the lower right hand corner. Good to you? Looks good to me. So in Vim, if I do a colon, I get to do commands at the bottom here. And then I do an exclamation point. That means I can actually do bash shell commands, for those of you who know what that is. So I could do something like, hey, what's in my directory? Oh, it's this stuff. Pardon me. Clear. If I do a clear and I separate it by a semicolon, I do an ls, that should clear the screen and should show me the contents of the directory. Hey, look at that, it does that. So, hey, these are the files that Vim makes. I'm sure I could learn how to stop making those files, but I think there's some kind of temp file that I might want. And I just never bothered to learn it. That's a lot of programming, I feel like. You just learn what you need to know, and there's a whole lot of mystery everywhere else, and eventually you learn more, but there's never a time where you know everything. Because once you've learned a particular programming language, there's some domain within that programming language, like web development versus server-side development, that you can get better at, or you might want to learn how compilers work, and there's operating systems, and there's the math behind things, or you might want to read Knuth's big tomes on how to program in assembly, because he started this when one language was popular, and now he's continuing to write it when some other language is popular. And when he's done, hopefully he will finish, some other language will be popular. So he had to write it in assembly. And oh man, it's a wonderful book. If you've never looked at Knuth's Art of Computer Programming, I've not read it, but I've read bits and pieces. And it's this wonderful combination, I feel, of a programming book written in a friendly way, but also it reads a bit like a good math text. Like, have you ever read Euclid's Elements, where you start from some basic notions, the point, the line, the plane, and so on? Oh crap, I've not really been timing myself. I'm going to give myself 20 minutes. Come on, my phone is not acting the way it should. Alright, so I've got a 20-minute timer. Okay. Then I got to go water some goats, because they need water. Because everything's frozen outside. Okay, so just an aside, you should check out Knuth's Art of Computer Programming, even if you're not that much of a computer programmer. If you can read and you can think, you're ready. Maybe learn a bit of, if you know what an if statement, a while loop, and a function are, maybe you need to know some basic how to program. Easy stuff, right? Once you know that, then you're good. You're fine. Anyway, great, wonderful read. So where did I go with? I don't know why I was going there, but here I've got this. Got my variable declarations. The const keyword means I can't change the value of the thing I just declared, so I can't make r equal some other library. Rx will always equal RxJS for the duration of my program. Context is always going to equal this. The thing itself can be modified, so if I create some kind of object and assign it to a variable, I can still mess around with its contents, unfortunately. There are ways to avoid doing that as well. And for some of you, you're like, why wouldn't I want to change the contents of something? Isn't that how programming works? Well, watch and learn, buddies. You don't have to modify things in order to make things happen, and that actually is kind of a good thing. You want to do the least amount of modification and side effects you can, because if you do a whole bunch of modification, side effects, and mutation, it's just going to be a big mess eventually, and you're not going to be able to understand what's going on. So the more your program looks like a mathematical equation, the better off you are. Okay, I'm back. So I was interrupted a little bit. It happens. So where was I? I was going on and on about functional programming and why it's so great. But let's get back to getting this thing to work. So I don't think there's much that I've changed except for now the width and height are different and differently managed. npm run build. So that's what I use to run my program or compile it to something that's useful. All right. Let's see if this gives me any errors. Hey, look at that. It's kind of weird. I'm going to mess around with this a little bit. Divided by, oh, I don't know. Or multiplied by 0.9. You know, I'm not sure how much I care about this. I went on and on about how much I cared about this not being some kind of weird decimal value, and now I'm like, I don't care. I could look up what the ideal golden ratio is, but I just will see how it looks. Hope you can't hear my cat eating in the background. No, it's not quite what I want. Oh, doesn't look too bad, actually. R8. I think it's too tall. Okay. Let's see. How's that look? I think that looks fine. Okay, so now I've got well, why don't I do this? It's kind of, why isn't that's kind of odd, don't you think? Oh, because I'm doing width. I was looking at this guy, like, why is this here? Why isn't it? That's the reason why that's doing that. So explanatory. So here's what I was thinking of. Okay, so I was wondering why this line, this diagonal line, wasn't going here. It was going here instead. And so the reason it wasn't going the way I wanted to was because I was starting from 0, 0, which is up here in the upper left-hand corner, and I was going to width, width, which ends up being, you know, somewhere here. And what I really wanted was this. I don't think I needed to do this in npm run build. I think I already built it. All right. So now I've got this diagonal line. I don't really want a diagonal line though. What I want is a box. So why don't I do canvas draw box. Rect. I want a filled box. Draw filled box. Fill rect. All right. to start it for now 0, 0, and I'm going to make some values here. Box let's see. Well, how about I start making some game state here. So X position, we'll make it 0. Y position, I'll make it 0. Width, I'll make it some fraction of this. So height. All right, so I got a box. I don't need any of this stuff. Box.x, box.y, box.x plus box.height, box.y plus box.height. This needs to be width. And I'm going to make this divided by, oh, I don't know, 10. So now I'm going to have a box that's going to be drawn from 0, 0, which is the upper left-hand corner, to the width and the height. So let's see what I got here. Now eventually this box is going to be replaced by the image of a rocket, but I've not drawn that yet. So right now I just want a box that'll eventually go up and down when I press the up and down buttons. Let's see what happens. Did I build this? I did. Okay. That's a decent size. Yes, it rang a bell. That's fine. I don't know why it rang a bell, but it's okay. All right. So now how about, for now, right now I've got this stream of up arrow and down arrows. So I can write a function that says, well, I'll switch on arrow. Box dot, let's see, case. So arrow up. I realize this is not particularly functional at the moment. I'll modify this as I go. So I will do box dot y equals box. Let's do a minus minus. Okay, so that should work for me. So what this should do is when I press an arrow up, now the problem is, there's a number of problems with this, but one of the problems is I can't really see it move up and down because I'm not clearing the screen. So let's see what I can do about clearing canvas. It might just be Let me have a look. This is a lot of programming, and if you're not used to programming, and it depends on the kind of programmer that you are. My partner, they know everything they need to know. They seldom have to look anything up, and they just program as they need to. They figure out what the requirements are, and then they write the code. For me, there's just so much in web development that I just don't know, and I never will know. Okay, so it looks like I want clear rect. Zero, zero, context.canvas.width. No, I keep occasionally. Okay, good. So let's see what happens here. I don't know why that's happening. I don't know why the arrow. That's kind of weird, don't you think? I don't know. I don't know why that's happening. It's kind of odd. Okay, so I'm going to console.log what I'm getting here. And so the problem is when I press the down button, the box does go down, but it increases in size. When I press the up button, nothing appears to be happening. So what's going on? I don't do anything when I arrow. Something should be happening when I arrow up, shouldn't it? Arrow up, height. So y is 7. Do another one. Y is 7. Y is 7. Why is y not changing? Y doesn't change when I... Alright, let me try this. Maybe it's the minus minus that's giving me a problem. this even hitting it. Because that really should, the minus minus should do what I want it to do. It's not hitting it. That's kind of weird. Oh, I know why. It really shouldn't be coding like this, but it just seems so much easier at the moment. I'm still not used to coding in a functional way sometimes. My goal here was to get it working, and then there we go. I still don't know why. I don't know why that's... See, the Y is increasing, but why is the... It looks like the height's increasing too, and I don't know why the height's increasing. Oh, maybe because I don't need to have these pluses here. I assumed that I needed to give a strict XY position for both of these, but maybe it's starting from 0 and then going and then adding, you know, from your X and Y. And let's see what happens here. And I'll explain what I'm thinking here. Yep. Check it out, yo. Got a box. Doesn't go very fast. Okay. I haven't committed in a while, and I really feel like I need to. Although, looks like this might be a good spot to stop and make a little to-do for myself. Make more functional. Use scan and stuff, which I'll explain later. So I'll do a little summary of what I've done so far. Okay, so from before we had a stream of anytime I press the up arrow key, I get the text arrow up. Anytime I press the down arrow key, get the text arrow down. And now I can use subscribe and hand subscribe a function that does something with this. What it does now is it actually mutates global state, which is terrible. It's a terrible idea, but it seemed really easy to do right now while you're watching me code. And my next task is to make this more functional, so I don't constantly change this box object. I want to keep it in a scan call, and I'll explain a little bit more how that works later. But what it does now is when you get arrow up, well, right now I'm console.logging. I need to do that. Compiling, la la la, just out of habit. Okay, so press down. I change the position of the box, and then I break because I need to break. Otherwise, it's going to go down to this case. If the arrow is down as opposed to up, I change the position with a plus, so you know, can only go down. I have to break here too. All right, so the next thing I do on this line, so this is what I do when I do arrow up. I just change the position of the box. This is what I do when I do arrow down. I change the position of the box again. Next thing I do is I clear the rectangle. Then I I clear the screen of the game, and then the next thing after that is I draw the box. That's fill rect. So the box is simply an object that has an x, y, and a width and a height. And that's it, yeah. So that's probably annoying, that little tick that I have, where I click my tongue while I'm talking. I think that explains everything so far. If you watched the previous video. And that's what this does. What? What did I do? Something's wrong. Oh, I refreshed things in mid-compile. See? It goes up and down when I press up and down on the screen. So I've got a stateful, sort of mutated state kind of application right now. My next goal is to make this less mutatey, where instead of modifying this box constantly, instead what I'm doing is I'm creating new boxes every time I need to redraw. That's the next thing I want to do. Okay. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you think of this video, how I can improve, what's more entertaining, what's less entertaining. Am I thinking too much and being quiet while I'm thinking? Any criticism that's constructive, I'd love to hear. And if you like this, let me know. Like and subscribe, I guess that's what you say at the end of a video. Yeah, I'm rambling now, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.